Hi bakers, I'm Sally, and today I'm teaching you how to make chocolate ganache. Easily one of the most versatile recipes in the dessert world, and you only need 2 ingredients, heavy cream and chocolate. You can use ganache as a topping or a filling or a dip. For the chocolate, make sure that you're using quality chocolate. You'll want to avoid using candy melts or chocolate chips. They're sold in 4-ounce bars in the baking aisle, and they're usually right next to the chocolate chips. I'm using 2 4-ounce bars, and I'm chopping the chocolate as finely as I can using a serrated knife. A serrated knife just makes this process much easier. You'll want to chop the chocolate as finely as possible, and that's because the only heat that will melt it down is the heat from the warm cream. It's just going to melt down quicker and easier if it's in really small pieces. For the chocolate, you can use semi-sweet or bittersweet. Those are my 2 favorites when making chocolate ganache. I'm going to transfer the chocolate to a heat-proof bowl. Just make sure that it's big enough because we'll pour the heavy cream on top of it. Set the chocolate aside. For the cream, make sure that you're using heavy cream or heavy whipping cream. Avoid half and half and whole milk. For a non-dairy option, you can use full-fat canned coconut milk. Let's take this over to the stove and heat it over medium heat. There's no need to stir it. Heat it until it's just simmering. You don't want to bring it to a full boil, that's too hot. Keep an eye on it, and as soon as you see little simmers around the edges, take it off the heat. Pour that warm cream over the chocolate, and then we're going to let this sit here for a few minutes to gently soften it. Don't stir it too soon. The recipe for chocolate ganache is really easy to remember. It's about a 1-to-1 ratio of chocolate to cream by weight. So it's really easy to scale up or down. You can make any amount as long as you keep that ratio the same. After about 3 minutes, you can begin slowly stirring it together with a spoon and be patient with it. It will take a couple minutes of stirring for the chocolate and the cream to fully combine. You'll know that it's ready when everything is smooth and glossy. At first, it's going to look like nothing is happening, but keep stirring and suddenly you're going to see it all start to come together. Here's a troubleshooting tip if you need it. If your chocolate isn't melting, either the chocolate wasn't chopped fine enough or the cream wasn't warm enough, don't place this in the microwave. To get that chocolate really melted, you'll want to use a double boiler and let the indirect heat gently melt the chocolate. You can see that it's perfectly smooth. If you find that your ganache is grainy, this typically happens when the chocolate has been scorched from overheating the cream. Sadly, there's no fixing it, so it's best to start fresh. Remember to heat the cream gently, stir slowly, and you'll have that perfect texture every time. Now that the ganache is done, it's time to use it. It's pretty thin right now, so it makes a wonderful drizzle or dip. It will continue to thicken as it cools for the next few hours at room temperature, and then it will be wonderful. You can scoop it, you can pipe it on cupcakes or cake. If you want to speed up that cooling time, you can place it in the refrigerator. This batch has been cooling for a couple hours now. It's thickened nicely and it's ready to be spread on desserts or used as a filling for cake or cupcakes. I'm going to pipe it on some cupcakes, so this can even be used with piping tips. The piping tip I'm using is Wilton 1M, one of my favorites. And when I am filling a piping bag, I like to use a really tall cup. I've placed the piping tip in the bag already. I place it inside the cup and fold the edges over. And now it's really easy to fill. Ganache is the perfect consistency for piping. And this is nothing but chocolate and cream. This is such a great option if you're looking for a rich chocolate frosting, but don't want all that extra sweetness. And now I'll show you how I use the thickened ganache to fill cupcakes. I have some chocolate cupcakes here, and to fill the cupcakes, I'm going to use a small paring knife and cut a small section out of the cupcake, only about 1 inch deep. Grab a teaspoon. It's usually about how much will fit inside the cupcake. And fill it just about up to the top. And the piece that you removed, take off a little bit of the end so it will fit. And place it right on top. And don't worry about how it looks on top. You can cover it up with buttercream or even more ganache. We can even take this one step further. Once it's completely cooled, we can whip it until it's light and fluffy in texture, almost like a rich tasting mousse. I'm going to use my stand mixer for this. You can also use a handheld mixer and the whisk attachment. And we're going to beat it on medium-high speed for about 3 to 4 minutes until it's light and fluffy. Whipping introduces a lot of air, so you'll see it will almost double in volume. This looks good. So light and fluffy. We can pipe this. I'm going to pipe it on some chocolate cupcakes. You'll see this pipes beautifully. Now that you know how to make this rich and easy chocolate ganache, have fun finding your favorite way to enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you feel inspired to try a new baking recipe today. Head over to my website for the full written recipe and all of my success tips. You can also ask a question right there on the recipe page, and my team and I will be happy to answer.